They wear the badge to protect and serve, but what happens when they celebrate after taking a life? From high fives over fatal shots to casual jokes about deadly encounters, these moments reveal a shocking side of law enforcement. Here are 4 disturbing instances where officers were caught celebrating after killing someone. Let's start with a case that shocked the community, when body cam footage showed an officer laughing and placing a price tag on a dead person. On January 23, 2023, the vibrant South Lake Union neighborhood in Seattle displayed the usual urban atmosphere until it suddenly changed. A call was received, a standard Priority 1 alert. The Seattle Police Department was made aware of a possible overdose requiring urgent attention. Officer Kevin Dave rushed through the city streets in his patrol car, exceeding the 25-mile-per-hour speed limit by reaching 74 miles per hour in response to a dire emergency call. The necessity of going fast was clear, yet the dangers it presented were severely miscalculated. Janavi Kandula, a graduate student aged 23 studying at Northeastern University, was walking across the street close to her school. Little did she know that a police car, going almost triple the speed limit, was approaching her. In an instant, Kandula was hit by the vehicle with such strong impact that she was thrown onto the hood, crashed into the windshield, and then aggressively thrown onto the road when Officer Dave slammed on the brakes, too late to avoid what was bound to happen.
Calls for help.
3 Mary 2, started supervisor start fire for a struck pedestrian.
There was chaos in the scene. Officer Dave, feeling shaky and confused, requested assistance. Officer Daniel Odorer, a member of the traffic division, was one of the arrivals, responsible for determining if Dave was impaired during the crash, and this is where it gets worse. In the footage, Officer Odorer can be heard laughing while talking about the incident with a fellow officer while behind the wheel.
Tonight, we are seeing new video of the moments before and after a Seattle police officer hit a 23-year-old woman while she was in a crosswalk. This happened in January while an officer was responding to an emergency. He was going more than 70 miles per hour in a 25-mile-per-hour zone. Janavi Kandula died at the scene. This is the incident that has sparked outrage across the country.
His words were daunting and disgusting. "I believe she climbed onto the hood, hit the windshield, and then was thrown off the car when he braked. But yeah, she is dead," he states nonchalantly, then chuckles. "She's only 26, had limited worth anyway." It appeared that Odorer had not taken the time to find out Kandula's actual age, which was 23, not 26, and his comment about her life having limited value was a gut punch to everyone who knew her and to the broader public. His idea of getting over it was to just write an $11,000 check. An official inquiry was initiated, and in February, the King County Prosecutor's Office concluded that Officer Dave would not face any felony charges. The reason behind it? There is not enough proof to show that Dave was intentionally ignoring safety, even though he was driving at almost triple the legal speed limit. Instead of that, Dave was fined $5,000 for reckless driving, a punishment that was seen as very unfair given the tragic outcome. As additional information was revealed, the story became more coherent. Janavi Kandula's passing was not solely a tragic incident, but one that could have been avoided. Some officers involved showed a casual, almost dismissive attitude, further intensifying the injustice felt after her life was ended by reckless driving. As Officer Dave was fined and Officer Odorer faced disciplinary action and was assigned to a non-operational position as a result of the incident, but for some, it seemed belated and inadequate. It was a troubling truth that those who were supposed to protect her considered her life to be so worthless. But hold your horses, because the inhuman treatment in the next case might make you cry. On June 6, 2020, the day started as usual for the Walmart workers in Loveland, Colorado. Regular changes, crowded aisles, and the continual buzz of customers entering and leaving. However, at midday, something was wrong. The workers observed an older woman trying to exit the store without paying for items valued at $13. Their reaction was to follow the standard procedure for businesses. They contacted law enforcement. The Loveland Police Department got the call and sent officers to the location. The simple solution turned into an unforeseen and sinister development. The individual in question was Karen Garner, a 73-year-old woman who had dementia and sensory aphasia, two conditions that significantly affected her communication and comprehension skills.
You just left Walmart. Do you need to be arrested right now? No.
When the officers got there, Walmart staff had already retrieved the unpaid items from Karen. Nevertheless, despite the situation being managed, the officers opted to escalate the situation.
Let's stop. Come on.
I'm going home.
No, on the ground. Stay on the ground.
What happened next was extremely cruel. The video shows Officer Hop aggressively seizing Karen and tossing her to the floor. "Get down on the ground now," he yelled for her to remain on the ground, while Karen's weak body made a disturbing noise upon hitting the pavement. The severity of the takedown resulted in Karen sustaining a fracture to her shoulder. Karen, with a quivering voice filled with fear, reiterated her intention to go home, indicating that she had lost control over her destiny. The situation turned more ominous as Karen was now in handcuffs. In spite of her advanced age, obvious disorientation, and continual begging, Officer Hop and his co-workers displayed no indications of empathy. However, it appeared that they found a concerning amount of enjoyment in the situation. As Karen was put in the police car, onlookers started to voice their opinions.
Body cam are my favorite thing to watch. I like to see body cams all day. I'm here.
Then Karen was taken to the police station, where the abuse continued. While she waited in a holding cell with her hands restrained, the officers were caught on camera watching the video of the arrest. The joking and laughter were not typical behavior for police officers, but rather for people who had forgotten their responsibility to serve and protect. Officer Hop and his colleagues reached the height of insensitivity by mocking the genuine pain Karen was suffering. One officer inquired, "Isn't this great?" "I love it," a different officer replied. "I hate it," in a negative tone. It was proof of their inhumanity. However, facts are facts, and it is simple that Karen Garner, an elderly woman who was vulnerable and confused, was manhandled, arrested, and left with a fractured shoulder by the end of the day, all because of $13 worth of items she didn't realize she had taken. After being revealed, the event caused anger and resulted in legal action being taken against the Loveland Police Department. The community wanted explanations and fairness for Karen, who ended up suffering trauma from those who were supposed to keep her safe and had failed to do so. The suffering doesn't stop here, because the next case is about mistreatment with animals, those who can't even speak in protest. March 2, 2024 began peacefully in a residential area in Benton County, Washington. The residents were going about their regular tasks when the Benton County Sheriff's Department received a phone call. What is the cause? 3 dogs were hanging around the area, barking nonstop and creating a commotion.
The thing we can do is really shoot them.
For some people, it was bothersome. For one resident in particular, it was concerning. The man couldn't get out of his car because the dogs were surrounding it and barking. In his state of panic, he called 911, wishing for a quick solution. The sheriff's department responded, but instead of dispatching animal control, officers arrived on the scene. Given the weekend, animal control was unavailable, so the task fell to the officers. A situation that was supposed to be routine rapidly became chaotic.
The only thing that we can do is really shoot them. Animal control can't come out here.
Yeah.
If they're being aggressive.
I think they're.
The officers were recorded on body cameras talking about their choices.
I'm sure there's somebody's with having all three of them, but.
Yeah, let me make a phone call.
Okay.
Upon spotting the dogs, the officers began to formulate a plan. Instead of trying to subdue or contain the animals, they were already intent on killing them. The dogs, which had appeared aggressive earlier, were now wandering the neighborhood, seemingly less threatening.
Have a couple of, but they're fenced.
Okay. Yeah, they're in this area running around. They came down to this property down here.
Yeah, they were on the
Okay.
canal bank earlier today. My wife saw them walking, and they weren't crazy aggressive, but she felt a little uncomfortable. She just walked back home. So they've been walking up. They could have been dumped.
But they're yours, though?
No,
Oh, on the phone you told me they were yours.
no. I have
Oh.
two dogs here. They're just a golden retriever and a little, I don't know, they're uncollared.
Yeah.
So that usually tells me that they were probably dropped.
Okay.
Then how do you hook them up, right?
Yeah, we let animal control
Control
know, but they're not being aggressive anymore, and they went that way.
Well, they don't look
I-
crazy aggressive, though. You
Yeah.
know?
Okay.
However, this didn't stop the officers from planning their demise. A passerby who had also made the call and had happened to see the officers preparing to take action offered a different perspective.
If we get that in the canal, if we get him down in the canal, then I think we can back too. But... Well, that's smart.
Any objections? I mean, bring that about and see. Shitload of people watching. Just where obviously a friend in the background, Ricochet.
Yeah, we just gotta make sure that our backstop is.
I know we're not going to catch him.
The officers attempted to reach out to animal control once more, hoping to have them come out and handle the situation. But when there was no response, they decided to go ahead with their plan. The casual manner in which they discussed the dog's fate was chilling. There was no sense of responsibility or compassion, just cold, calculated cruelty.
Never mind. I'm gonna go for the other one.
County 22 dispatch. I'm going to go put him out of their misery.
The first one was probably pretty quick.
Yeah. It's buried.
Man, they started barking and they were going.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy smokes.
I'm still recording, but yeah.
Yeah, my body camera's on.
As the officers continued their pursuit, they finally cornered the dogs. The first dog was shot, a quick and brutal end, and one of the officers laughed after it. The officers, still recording on their body cams, expressed satisfaction with their actions. The first one was probably pretty quick, one of them commented.
Do you want me to call animal control, see if they'll come pick them up?
But the situation took a darker turn when they realized one of the dogs hadn't died immediately. It was suffering, writhing in pain from its injuries.
See if they'll come pick them up?
Yeah. And then the third one's still out here somewhere.
I'm surprised the other one's not coming.
Yeah, it's gone.
Good shots. I was like, getting ready to go for this one,
Hey,
and I was
you
like, it dropped.
Yeah.
In the midst of this horror, the officers showed no signs of regret. Instead, they found amusement in their actions. They laughed, joked, and even celebrated their accomplishment. They started barking and they were going, one officer recounted with a twisted sense of pride. It was clear that this was not about public safety, this was about power, control, and a disturbing lack of empathy. When the officers were done, 2 of the dogs were left dead in the field to be collected by animal control on Monday. The fate of the third dog, which managed to escape, remains uncertain. The officers appeared uninterested. They had accomplished their goal and could now proceed with their day, putting the destruction behind them. The arrest and shooting footage going viral caused anger not only within the community but also beyond. The officers' actions, as well as their complete indifference during the incident, were equally horrifying to the people. Despite the public's strong disapproval, the Benton County Sheriff's Department labeled the officers' behavior as extremely unprofessional but did not discipline anyone involved. It was a disrespectful act towards every animal lover, every concerned citizen, and everyone who values basic principles of decency. What was most surprising about the entire situation was not only the behavior of the officers, but also the repercussions that followed. Rather than placing blame on those responsible, attention turned towards the owner of the dog. The owner of the dogs was surprisingly summoned to court not for justice over the deaths of his pets, but to label the third dog, which had fled, as a threat. The system seemed to have abandoned morality, opting to safeguard itself instead. The Benton County officers may not have faced consequences for their actions, but the stain on their reputation and on the institution they represent will not be easily washed away, and it never does, especially in cases of dealing with people with mental health issues, just like LaDonna. On an average day in Tulsa, law enforcement officers were called to a 911 incident that turned into a tense confrontation. The call concerned LaDonna, a 70-year-old woman who had trapped herself in a store restroom and was unwilling to come out. The events that came next were a troubling series that emphasized the difficulties of managing individuals in mental health crises and the regrettable outcomes when those circumstances are not handled properly.
Hey, Tulsa Police.
No, LH, you're not.
Okay, well, so if you don't open the door, we're gonna have to bust it down, okay?
Oh, why would you do that? I'm not doing anything to you. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that to me?
So they want you off this property. She won't even talk.
At 6:56 p.m., Tulsa police arrived at the location and were told by store workers that LaDonna had been in the restroom for hours and ignored requests to exit. The atmosphere was tense, as it was evident that LaDonna was experiencing a serious mental health crisis. The initial responder at the scene, acknowledging the seriousness of her condition, tried to calm the situation by talking to her calmly from outside the bathroom. The officer, understanding that convincing her would be difficult, kept talking to her, attempting to prevent a conflict. Nevertheless, the situation shifted when a woman officer showed up at the location. In contrast to her coworker, this officer demonstrated a lower level of patience and a more assertive demeanor in her interactions.
Yeah, you've been here since 11, so either you leave on your own.
No, you better not do it.
Hit you with that Lysol. She's
I'm just gonna until it's gone.
Position left on Jay.
Nobody's trying to kill you. She's just right there.
Too bad it doesn't go like this way.
I know, right?
Honestly, Burns
Quit spraying the door! Quit spraying the door!
Just 1 minute, we're about to clear here.
No, you come out and leave.
Why are you doing that? Get away from me! Get away from me! Get away, get away, get away!
I love my job.
Call in, notice on subject, please. Called in at 2600.
You guys are gonna need new air freshener. I hope you don't mind.
I called in. Someone in a green.
Okay, it's unlocked. I can feel like the tension from her hand.
While the standoff dragged on, the officers grew more and more frustrated, especially when LaDonna started spraying the restroom door with air freshener, while the female officer kept her foot on the door's handle and laughed throughout.
Chris is, and I don't care who Chris is.
She's the manager. If she comes out of
Is Chris the manager here?
Donna finally agreed that she would only leave if Chrissy, the store manager, came. Unfortunately, she wasn't present at the location. When they connected with her on the phone, LaDonna did not believe it was Chrissy's voice.
Listen, Chrissy's on the phone. All right, Chrissy, go ahead and tell her.
You need to go ahead and leave the premises, and we're going to prohibit you from coming back.
That's not Chrissy's voice. I know Chrissy's voice. Oh, this is bullshit all the way around.
It was then discovered that LaDonna had an aerosol and lighter with her in the bathroom, and the officer said she is going to burn the whole place down.
They resorted to this final course of action.
Finally, the officers decided that enough was enough.
Kick it.
I'm not kicking.
Long ass killer thing, you get it with your own legs.
a big one.
Ready?
Yep. Oh! All right.
This is not right. It's not right, sir. It's really not. My brain calls me.
Yep. Sit down.
What did I
said sit down. Sit down.
I will. Okay.
Having exhausted all other alternatives, the officers burst into the bathroom, forcefully breaking the door and dragging LaDonna out. The frail and scared elderly woman was overpowered by the officers who handcuffed her and forced her to the ground. The video of the event, recorded by body cameras, rapidly spread online, causing widespread anger. The officers' actions, particularly the female officer's indifference, shocked the public. The police department characterized the behavior as highly unprofessional in their response, yet they did not take disciplinary action against those who were involved. The event is a clear example of why it is crucial to properly train police officers in dealing with mental health emergencies with empathy and comprehension. Ultimately, LaDonna was arrested. However, the true offense was the mistreatment she endured, along with their laughs and jokes from those in charge of ensuring safety and order. If you enjoy true crime content like this, make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss out on any upcoming videos.